welcome to 69th Base. I'm Doug Millard, and this is the podcast where I destroy all the stupid crap that comes out of the mouths of people like Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, and more. This week, we're going to talk about why Skip and Shannon were both featured on an InforWars website. Yep, that really happened, and it's ridiculous. Why Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless sound so stupid when they talk about Patrick Mahomes. Some Dak and Zeke stuff. What Jason Whitlock had to say about Carly Lloyd trying out for a football team. Why Stephen A. Smith is such a fucking nerd. We got the rumor of the week, and we got a segment where we're going to talk about what Skip Bayless's superpowers would be if he were a superhero and or villain. It's a really fun episode. This is the first. I've actually got two guests on this week. I've got my buddy Mikey Ayers, who I've known for a long time. And Mikey is a really funny guy that knows his sports and hates Skip Bayless and is constantly texting me about it. And also, one time, he got me super high on a cookie, on a pot cookie. He didn't inform me how much was in there. I had about, I don't know, half of a cookie that was about the size of a quarter. And I went off onto another planet in my head somehow and didn't know how to drive a car and almost called the cops on myself and had to have waved down some strangers to help me out. And they filmed me freaking out, and I promised them a trip to Vegas because I was so panicked. It was a really fun time. Mikey and I, whenever we get together, kind of get in too much trouble. And that also happened after we recorded the podcast last night. But anywho, so Mikey's on. He tears it up. He's so funny. And my buddy Mike Wiebe is also on. So we got Mike and Mike. Mike Wiebe's in town with his band, the Riverboat Gamblers. He played a show in Garden Grove on Saturday night and absolutely destroyed the place. It was such a fun time. A big group of us from Austin went out to see him. They're a Denton/Austin band. And if you don't know them, good God, they're incredible, and live they'll blow your butt off. I apologize for saying blow your butt off, but that's what's gonna happen when you see him. Very talented guy, but what's interesting, he doesn't really know his sports. He doesn't know who Skip Bayless is, so Mikey and I would translate things for him, and Mike was able to pretty much immediately figure out who Skip Bayless is because he's so shallow and easy to figure out, and destroy him just the same. He got it right away, and we had a really fun time, so I'm excited for you guys to give this a listen. And I'm going to kick things off right now with my rant of the week, which is, guys, I think this is the 8th episode, so we're like 2 months in, and I had a hard time this week finding the arguments I wanted to talk about, and not for lack of stupid shit coming out of these guys' mouths. It's just, they're so fucking repetitive, it drives me insane. And Will Kane actually had a caller call in and complain about it, ask why the hell do you talk about the Cowboys so much? And Will slammed him saying, look man, you don't get it. It's about ratings. The Cowboys get ratings. And I do understand that. But when it comes to just saying the same shit over and over and over again, I don't know, maybe try something different on occasion. I am a Cowboys fan, and I get fucking tired of it. So shut the fuck up. Maybe take a risk here and there. And I know there's some like tiny small market teams that nobody gives a fuck about except for the people in those communities. Sorry guys, but that's how it is. But I still want to know what they're up to. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know what all the teams are up to. Let's talk about all of it. But executives get scared and don't like to take risks, and then they tell these idiots what to do, and they fucking listen. Yeah, it's just, we're 2 months in and it's already driving me fucking crazy. I think when I started, I didn't think about how repetitive I would have to be because of how fucking repetitive they are, and it makes me want to punch some holes in walls. And again, I'm a Cowboys fan. It's like, we're fucking talking about Zeke's contract again. Like, how many fucking spins can we put on this shit? You know what I mean? Like, it's a boring ass story. How has it become such a thing? Like, I get, like, you know, they're America's team or whatever, and if Zeke sits out, it's a big deal that we're going to lose some extra games. We're fucked. But at the same time, it just is what it is. He's going to hold out till he does. or it doesn't come back, and that's what it is. I don't know how we can fucking talk about it every goddamn day. I am so excited for the season to start so we can move on from this, you know? And I'm sure there's still going to be Cowboys heavy, but at least we don't have to be stuck on the contract or Dak's contract or Amari's contract. And on top of that, I can hold these pricks accountable for all their stupid predictions that, Skip and all these guys are going to get wrong again and again and again. So we're just a couple days away from the kickoff. Bears and Packers. Let's fucking get there. Come on! Let's do this shit. Let's move on from all the bullshit and just dive the fuck in. That's it for me right there. That's off my chest. Let's move on. I'm going to bring the guests on. You guys get ready to rock and roll.
Hey, I got my guests here. It's the first time I got two guests on this episode. In one corner, I've got my pal, and this is a first-time thing. He's visiting from Austin, Texas. We go way back. He was in town with his band, the Riverboat Gamblers, put on a hell of a show in Garden Grove. Welcome to the show, Mike Wiebe, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Stop applauding. I'm a regular guy.
And Mike, I was saying first time, it's a little different. You are not a sports guy.
Nope. When the teams were decided in junior high, and you were a gothy punk rock indoor kid or a jock, I chose gothy punk rock indoor kid, and then no one told me that we were not adhering to junior high subcultures as I grew up. And like now all my friends are super into sports, and it's not that I dislike it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just I just never like got into it, and and I never like felt like. And now almost it's like I've got so many friends that are so into sports. Like I like legitimately would like it, but I have so many things that I'm working on or interests that I feel like I just can't take on another thing. I don't know. And also like everyone's they're so young. Yeah. Everyone plays sports is so young, and I feel like it'd be weird. Like it'd just be like, I just feel weird. Like you go, you teenager.
Yeah, you're
living a better life than I'm living.
Mike is
jealousy.
Mike is 84.
I'm 86.
And you, so you're not a sports fan, and you don't really know who Skip Bayless or any of these guys that I make fun of are.
Skip Bayless. You showed me some clips.
Yeah,
today,
I showed you some clips just a little bit ago. But the whole reason I wanted to have you on, I thought it'd be a fun, something different to do, and have you on and have you pick apart this guy that you don't know about, because he's a pretty easy target. So I thought it'd be fun to get
he
new
reminds
perspective.
Me of. I mean, like it does bring up some of that. That like. This is why I chose the team skateboarders draw a penis on the wall team in junior high, because he seems like a fucking Weasley coach guy that like he has all the vibes of like, I wanted to be a pro athlete and I didn't quite ever get it. Yeah. So now I'm back here coaching in school, and some days I'm really going to take it out on... Right. Like he had a couple good years in high school, and then but then never really left his hometown. And he's just like weirdly doing it on a national scale.
Yeah, like... I think
is that the case? Was he?
Yeah, you've kind of nailed it. Well, I mean, I don't know how...
Did he play pro ball?
He played high school basketball, and it's really funny. He just played like long enough to his team. I think his senior year went really far, like one state or something in Oklahoma. But
Oklahoma though, what does that mean?
Yeah. At one point though, he made it sound like he helped the team win. Yeah. But there is a thing called public records, and so people found out that he barely played, and he averaged 1.4 points per game.
Shit, I played for a brief time, and I think I averaged that.
but for him to be this big sports guy, so I think it's just all resentment towards like I couldn't do the thing that I loved, so now I'm just gonna shit on the guys that are good at it. Let me bring in Mikey here, just because I feel like I did this very awkwardly. You're just gonna sit here. Welcome, Mikey, an old friend, old pal. We've gone way back. I mostly am just friends with people named Mike or Mikey or Michael.
They're
the best kinds of people.
Yeah, the best ones.
Yeah.
And the name Ryan's the worst name.
Yeah. My friend Ryan is in the room, but he doesn't have a mic because we won't allow him to speak. But
again, his name's not Mike.
People have been telling me a lot lately I need to work on self-promotion, so
Yeah.
I'm going to say my name is Mikey Ayers. That's
Mikey
my last name.
Ayers,
That's as much as I'm going to promote myself. So I'll leave it at that.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
And you are a sports guy. We've bonded on that as well as many other things. We also kill cats together and stuff.
Yeah.
We bonded over. That's how we met.
People who kill cats together stay together.
Yeah. You know, like in that movie Gummo where they throw the cat in the trash can.
I thought it was just some jock shit that I'm privy to.
They're just bullying things.
Yeah. And you are quite familiar with Skip Bayless. Mikey will text me like, "Did you see this fucking ridiculous, thing?" And he just put on to show Mike. This is going to be a little confusing. Mikey showed Mike and
hey, let's call me for the sake of the podcast today. Since my name is John Michael, call me JM. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. Never mind. Let's forget.
Mikey's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, you put on the old clip of Richard Sherman was on talking trash against Skip, like a pro athlete coming on to defend himself because Skip Bayless is shit all over him. We're trying to give Mike an example of like what this guy's about.
Kind of what I said about the age thing. I was just like, because at one point he was like, what Richard Sherman was his name? Yeah. Well, I've done this in my 24 years on this planet. I was like, how can any fucking 60-year-old man like talk shit to a 24-year-old? It's just like it's like me going up to in that same quotient. That's me going to an infant and going like, "You're not as good as me." It's fucking stupid.
You can't even chew your food properly.
Yeah. You don't have object permanence yet.
You little piece of shit. Yeah.
Object permanence. See, you've seen about 30 seconds of Skip Bayless and you already get it. Okay. That's how shallow and horrible he is.
And he looks like a talking head. It's just all like just a shrunken
talking
head.
You just showed me a picture of him flexing, which is a very embarrassing thing to do on Instagram. But I was like, he's in pretty good shape. I kind of wish
he's in very good shape.
I kind of wish I was in the shape of that 67-year-old man right now.
It's just weird though. But before we get too deep into that, I usually like share a personal story just to change it up a little bit. And this week, I guess I'll just have you guys get your take on how dumb I am, or if anything like this has happened to you before. When I turned, I think it was like around my 30th birthday, I moved in to my friend Dave's house for about a year. And the first night I was there, our friend Danny was over. We're hanging out, we're drinking way too much, which is how most of these stories on the podcast start. And my buddy Dave was like, look, for $5, I will pay you to run around the block naked. And one, I could really use the $5 at the time. And two, I
can use it right now. This is a story that exists in perpetuity.
I mean, I get paid $17 an hour, so that sounds like a pretty solid upgrade.
Yeah. It seemed like an easy enough thing, and I was very drunk. It was like, oh God, what time? 2 a.m. I think, and I take off running. I held my boxers in my hand, but I didn't have a cell phone. Just in case. I take off running. I don't bring a cell phone or anything.
No shoes?
I did have shoes. Sorry, I did have shoes because there's like loose gravel on the road.
Honestly, I mean, I have a lot of body shame. I'm not happy with how things are going, but I think I would be even weirder about running without shoes on, much less the rest of my body.
Well, for me, it's like my dad always said, "You're not naked if you got your shoes on." You know.
But I just didn't want. I would have just been
that's how you
covered in
getting caught with other women. I have my shoes on. Rules is rules.
But I take off. So it's my first day in the neighborhood, and there are no real street lights. Like, it's this oddly very dark. I think you've been to Dave's. I don't know if you've been at night, but it is a weird neighborhood where, most neighborhoods are set up to where you can find things easily.
Yeah.
It is this gauntlet, confusing, weird maze. And so I take off into this dark, it just run into the darkness. And I keep running and I keep running. I keep like turning to like what I think is going to be a circle. And it's not. And I just keep hitting like either dead ends or I'm like, this doesn't look familiar. And I just keep getting lost and lost. I ended up running for, I think it was 6 a.m. when I finally got home.
No.
I remember at one point I ran by this old woman. It was probably around 4. No, it was 2. I think it was just 2 hours. I think I left at 4 a.m. and I got back at 6 a.m. So only 2 hours. But
at what point? How long did it take you think to put your boxers on?
I never did because I was like, even though he wasn't, they did go in a car to try to find me.
Yeah.
But I was like, I thought that might happen. I was like, if they drive around and they see me and I'm in my boxers, I don't get the $5.
You gotta get that.
Yeah, like I really was like,
that was the point of this.
Yeah.
If you would have gotten murdered that night, imagine how they would have felt. Also, the murderers, usually I have to undress people. I just found this naked dude running through the street.
I did terrify. There was an old lady at one point that was on her bicycle, and it's after 4 a.m.
No business being out that late on a bicycle.
And she I just go, hi, howdy. I think I actually said Heidi because I was nervous.
Yeah.
And so it was a cross between hi and howdy. And she was so scared of me. But in my head, like what you were saying, I was like, this is scarier to me, like an old person on a bike at 4 a.m. That's weird. You're fucking weird. This was a one-time dare. This seems like a weird routine of yours. But yeah, I ran around at one point, I'd been drinking all night, so I'm dehydrated. It was summertime. It was hot. And so after a while, I'm getting so dehydrated. I'm like, I'm going to have to fucking have diarrhea. And where am I going to go? And so it gets to a point where I'm like, I kind of need to go to jail because I need a toilet. I don't want to just shit on a side yard or whatever. I think I did hide on a side yard for a minute just to time out. Because I wasn't. When you're running naked, it's not like a light jog. You're so nervous that you don't. So I'm doing a lot of sprinting and
you're probably getting hungry, just craving one of those jail bologna sandwiches.
What if there's more endorphins and you burn more calories if you're running naked, and that becomes new CrossFit
Olympic
kind of vibe?
It's like fear athletics.
Yeah.
Hey, we should maybe start that. But I finally ran into the highway 183 and was it was a point of reference and the sun was coming up and I was like, oh, I think I know where I am, and I was able to figure it out. And so I'm running kind of alongside a highway naked to get back, and I get back and they're just laughing hysterically, and they had told me they'd driven around and haven't had to give up, and it was just so I guess the point of the story there is bring a phone, bring some sort of map or GPS.
A bunch of freshmen at UT are driving down the highway keep Austin weird, There's some naked guy running there.
Is that Matthew McConaughey?
They're this is the time of our lives. This is the beginning of our lives.
I guess the other point is I'll do anything for $5.
I've seen it.
That's why I'm jerking both of you guys up right now. Have you guys ever gone streaking? It sounds like you never would.
I'm a little bit ashamed of the size of my penis, to be honest.
So big. It's too big.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same.
It's really dependent on the climate. That's what I always say. But I get cold easily. So.
God, yeah. I don't know. I went through a period of just fuck it, and just thought it'd be so funny. But now I would never do that. I'm a married man. I don't need to be advertising out there.
That's how you advertise.
We're in LA. Girls are just going to be all about some streaking guy down Sunset.
Well, I guess we'll dive into the sports world. Speaking of idiots like me running around naked, what I was ranting about up top was the idea that just 2 months into this podcast, it's already wearing on me that how repetitive these guys are, because they really the main guy make fun of is Skip Bayless, and he says LeBron James, who's the best basketball player on the planet, is bad at basketball, which is a thing you can't really argue. And then talks about the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys. He has 5 go-to subjects. And so it sucks because it's you want to this past week I actually had a little bit of trouble. It's not that they didn't say anything dumb, but I was having trouble finding the arguments I wanted to talk about because it's more of the same, and I don't want to just do the exact same fucking thing. And it's just so irritating that, like, in this day and age that you can't, I don't know.
For me, like, preparing to even come on this podcast, I don't usually talk, like, openly about sports for long periods of time. I dove into some Skip Bayless research, and I looked up, like, his worst tweets ever. That was, like, my first Google search. Like, I couldn't tell when these were from because all of them were the exact same kind of bad. It was, like, in 1996, him, like, you know, I guess the Cowboys were actually doing good back then, so I can't say that. But, you know, 99, Phil Jackson's nothing without Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, it's, like, it's the same kind of just lunacy.
Yeah,
throughout the ages.
How long has
so.
he been, Skip, been a media guy?
I mean, I don't know when his career started, but I think I told you a while back, he kind of like busted out into this genre because he had a rumor that Troy Aikman was gay in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well,
he's the guy.
To the listeners,
He came up on a rumor about Troy Aikman being gay?
Well, apparently, I did some research. Barry Switzer, who was the coach at the time, I think he had a rumor for whatever reason that Troy Aikman was gay. But it was like the public would never have known. And I don't know if it was for like contract negotiations or he hated Aikman, or it was some weird thing to where like he had a reason for it, but Skip Bayless just took that rumor, ran with it, and it otherwise would not have gone public. But Skip, he knew what he was doing. It was just like it was clickbait before there was ever clickbait.
Yeah, I remember.
First time I've ever heard you say that. By the way,
about that
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
Like the weird thing of like how did rumors get to me before the internet? Like I remember, like because that was probably. What year was that? The Troy Aikman is gay rumors.
I mean, mid '90s, like '95ish.
Yeah, so like
or something.
I'm like right out of high school, but like there was no like, I mean, internet definitely not as we know it. There was like email, but like I can't remember. Like I remember like there was in rock terms there was this rumor that like some kid in junior high told me that Perry Farrell had AIDS. Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction had AIDS. He's got AIDS. And then, like, and I just thought, like, I was just some dumb thing some kid made up in Strickland Junior High in Denton, Texas. Like, last year I was listening to some podcast that Perry Farrell was on, and he was talking about, like, this really awful rumor that I had AIDS to the point where I went to play a show in, like, Florida, and the, like, cops came and, like, don't bleed on the crowd, because we heard you had AIDS. And he was, like, talking all about it. He was like, then the real story was, like, I was friends with this friend, and she did end up contracting AIDS and blah, blah. But this weird thing of like so that Troy Aikman is gay rumor. I remember that because again I was like now like I really just like sports. I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had time to get into this because all my buddies are into this, but I just kind of haven't. And but at the time I was really kind of like fucking jocks, fucking my parents, fuck my brothers who were good at sports. My dad was sports, and so. They were such diehard Cowboys fans and also like a kind of homophobic that it was really fun for me to go like, I heard he's gay. I heard he got caught blowing a guy inside. And then I just make up my own like rumors about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that rumor like did what Skip Bayless say on a broadcast? Like
he wrote a book.
Gay.
He wrote a book.
He wrote a book about it?
That's like as hard as you can commit to a rumor, pretty much.
Wow.
You know?
It was part of a book. It was a lot of dirt being thrown on all the Cowboys because they were at their peak of winning Super Bowls. Yeah. And so he's like, why not just? And it's what's funny is
doesn't he like the Cowboys?
He is a huge Cowboys fan, and so that's what's really crazy.
Gay people.
No, he just. It's in his nature to just make these embellished, crazy. Yeah. He's clickbait. He was always like just he's the National Enquirer of sports reporting.
Like the Rush Limbaugh.
But also like I feel like he has some special power to where like any prediction that he makes, the opposite thing is going to happen. Like looking back at his Twitter, like I just burst out laughing. Like early third quarter of the Super Bowl, he's like, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Falcons have won the Super Bowl, and I feel like that's the only reason they lost now.
Yeah. So like Troy Aikman's just like banging more women than usual because
Troy Aikman
he's saying
just had
that.
the best streak of his life.
Yeah.
He had like 6 weeks of just. I'll just stop there.
But yeah, so that's kind of how it was all. What's beautiful about all that is. he does worship every single Dallas Cowboy ever. Troy Aikman cannot stand him.
Well, of course not.
Yeah. And I would assume all the Cowboys cannot stand him.
Yeah.
But he's like on record. So Skip Bayless works for Fox Sports now, and that's where Troy Aikman does commentary for games on Fox
he's
Sports.
a commentator
So when
now.
Skip got hired, he was like, "I don't agree with this, Skip. You're supposed to hire people with talent and blah blah blah." It just like really took him down like 100 pegs. It's so funny, but anyway,
Do they ever have to be on camera together?
No, I don't think Troy would ever do that. God, that would be great for ratings.
That would be a show I would watch.
Oh man, that would be fantastic. But yeah, so it's weird. I did find topics, and we'll move on to them. I was able to find topics that were a little different, and I didn't want to. I will talk about some Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott stuff, some Dallas Cowboy shit, because it's what he fucking talks about. But I'm not going to get too much into Zeke Elliott, the running back for the Cowboys, is sitting out on a contract dispute and stuff. It's just that's most of what all of these guys talked about all week, and I don't want to do 10 different versions of that, so I don't want to.
It's not like there's any big updates.
There's nothing. So we'll move on to a funny. I guess funny. I showed you guys a little bit of the video. I don't think a lot of the listeners will be totally aware of this. My friend Jason Knuckles sent this in, and God bless him for sending this. Thank you, Jason. There was a story. This is from August 22nd, so not that long ago, about a week and a half ago. Shannon and Skip on Undisputed. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals and the season they were going to have. And Shannon Sharp said, "The only shot the Cards have at success this season is a flu shot." Which, first of all, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what does that mean? Is like,
I feel like jokes usually have to mean something.
Yeah.
And they can't just have the same words in them.
Yeah. That's all that was. And then he went on to say he declined to get a flu shot at CVS recently. Then Skip piled onto that and said, "I took one flu shot in my life and immediately got the flu. That was my last one." So that's all it was, just a few sentences.
Yeah.
And then this is in a time where vaccines are down in the U.S. It's a problem because people are dumb, and now like the measles are spreading and stuff again, it's a legit thing. My buddy Dan Cummins has a great bit on all this stuff. But these comments were then used in Alex's Jones InfoWars website on a show called War Room with host Owen Schroyer, who, good God, is just a fucking turd of a human being. And, by the way, this guy, Owen, who is about to say all the things I'm going to fill you guys in on, he is currently being sued over an allegation. He said that one of the dads lost someone in Sandy Hook was lying about seeing a bullet in their kid.
God.
So that's what this fucking piece of shit is.
Yeah.
And
I hope he loses.
That's like one of the few things that triggers me.
Oh, my God. And so this is all big.
In which I don't know. I know you probably don't want people defending Skip Bayless. I do feel like that wasn't a resounding call against vaccines.
No, not at all. And I don't think. Yeah, it was just a couple lines. I don't think they're like. It doesn't even mean they're anti-vaccine. Yeah. I do know some people that aren't anti-vaccine, but they don't like getting flu shots.
The flu shot, is it even a vaccine?
It's just for the season. Yeah. It's not a vaccine. Yeah. And
I don't know what a vaccine is.
So I don't think
exactly. To be honest with you,
not up to date on the whole vaccination thing. Yeah.
You think I'm talking about vacuums?
Yeah, you talking.
Hoovers are the best. But yeah, I don't think they would be stoked to be on this website. But in the segment, so right away with the Sandy Hook thing, this guy doesn't know. He's a fucking idiot. And in the segment, he continually says that how removed he is from the sports world. So he's already.
Discredited himself twice.
Yeah, twice by a lot. And then he can never. And he says he can't get the facts straight. And then he doesn't know what network.
What kind of commentator admits to not being able to get the facts straight?
Yes, and then he says He doesn't know what network they're on, and this also says a lot about the InforWars believers
sorry,
and
guys,
stuff.
I haven't researched this topic.
Yeah.
I guess they are called vaccines. The flu shot is a vaccine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so just to correct, so we don't come off as dumb as fucking whoever.
Thanks for fact checking.
He's got the power of the internet on his lap.
Yeah. He keeps saying that he doesn't even know what network he got the network wrong for these guys, and for all of what I just said, it's just a weird why don't you just time out and edit this?
It's a TV show.
Yeah. They could have timed out, and then he could have had the research department give him all this stuff, but he doesn't. He keeps going.
Does he have an assistant?
This
He's not like, hey, Rico.
I'm sure he does. So he's already so disqualified. You can all find this online on YouTube. Just looks up War Room Skip Bayless or Skip Bayless vaccines. You'll probably find it. And then he says, these comments are made by two of the most popular commentators when it comes to sports talk. So now, yet again, more disqualification. Then he goes on to call Skip and Shannon patriots and saying that this comment can help because the more people like these guys in the spotlight can bring up vaccinations. And like you were saying, Mike, they weren't really saying it in that context.
I was just saying I don't get flu shots, which are not it's a big difference between that and a life murdering disease like measles or can kill children and elderly people and stuff like that.
So he claimed Skip as being respected or just one of the more well known. So I'm thinking about it. Respected. I will never defend InforWars in any regard, but how do you go about as a broadcaster who does not watch sports? How do you go about trying to figure out who the most respected commentators are? It's Bob Costas, It's right off the bat. There's one of them.
Yeah.
But,
and he has pink eye all the time. No.
Yeah, it's is it by views, by your Twitter following? How many people comment that you're a fucking idiot with an idiot mouth?
Yeah, we know. I don't know. There's no way to qualify. Anyway, he also goes on to use an allegory from the movie A Bug's Life. He throws that in there. The whole thing is insane. Please watch it.
Famous quotes.
He's we need more sunflower seeds.
And but I guess I mostly just bring this up to the audience because I just thought it's a little different. I love that they are so dumb they got caught up in this, and I know you were saying it wasn't really what their agenda was or anything like that. I don't want to spin it that way. We will have a rumor for Skip later that we'll run with, but this, I feel on a level. I don't want to say I feel bad for Skip Bayless. No, he deserves this kind of shit. That's the thing. He's said so many horrible things that I'm glad he's entangled in this, and I think it speaks to his intelligence that he can get caught up in this. And what it made me excited about was it made me realize Skip Bayless is the InfoWars of the sports world, which is that's what the whole clip was, just kind of the InfoWars of the sports world being shown on InfoWars.
Well, when you sent me this clip, I immediately was okay, this is going to fuel Skip's ego to the point where he thinks he's capable of doing a political crossover show.
Moving on, this is a topic that Mike, you will not know many of these words, but we'll try to. Mikey and I will try to.
Okay.
Wait, Mikey will not, or Mike will
no,
not?
Mike won't. Mikey and I will try to relay.
So Mike is tall and Mikey is just kind of short and a little plump. So if you start just calling me plump, I'll just go by that.
Little plump.
A little plump, yeah.
Your nicknames just keep evolving. Yeah. It's just more and more self-deprecating. By the end, you're just call me piece
of shit.
I'm
just call me, just hand me the gun,
just call me Skip Bayless. This is actually pretty easy. That's another thing. These guys are so dumb and their topics are so dumb that it's pretty easy to explain. So the guy that is going to be the big reference here is Patrick Mahomes. Last year, Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. He threw 50 touchdowns last year, which is kind of only one or two people have done it.
Was Peyton Manning's record is 57, 56?
Yeah, I think so. So it was his first year really playing full time, and he did that. And he even
Texas guy too.
Yeah. And at one point, there's a highlight of him doing in basketball what they call a no-look pass, where he's looking off this way, and he throws the pass to a guy that's running over there. It was so impressive.
Wow.
He's doing like crazy shit in the NFL.
That's what made me a believer.
A believer in.
I almost said believer just out of habit, but a believer
He's so good
in
at
Patrick
sports,
Mahomes.
I started listening to Justin Bieber.
I was going
what
to
do you
say
mean?
Christ.
All right.
He's so good. He made Mikey believe in Christ. But yeah, so he had this unbelievable season, and Colin Cowherd, who's another, he's like Skip Bayless and all these guys. I used to say when I started the podcast he was less irritating to me because I would agree a little bit more with him. But the more I do research for this podcast, the more irritating he gets. He's kind of more like the nerdy dad of these guys.
Yeah.
And he does have some quick.
How he must be 1,000 years old? Because
Yeah,
Bayless is.
I think he's around. I think he's maybe a little bit younger.
Cowherd's probably like late 50s.
Yeah. And Cowherd just always has. He's always kind of talking about. He's watching the game and having a nice cool Heineken. Like it's like he's trying to be cool and relevant by talking about like I had a beer at the baseball game
He's like
I went
dropping
to.
slogans.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just
yeah.
finding my vacation with a Corona, or whatever
like-
that fucking tagline
And
is.
like every once in a while, like drop a new pop song that he heard that's really good. Just like, am I hip? Am I hip?
It's
But
like, I was loving it with that McDonald's.
but Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless have repeatedly, and Skip said it quite a few times this past week, both of them over the past year have just said that this guy, Patrick Mahomes, who is a monster out of the gates, this very impressive player, they say he's overrated, which is just, that's the thing, is they just do this contrarian point of view, and it just, I find it so funny because a thing that they both have brought up multiple times is just throwing these no-look passes. Who does that? And it just makes him sound like the old man, get off my lawn, like something
Got
different.
These young whippersnappers just throwing these no-look passes with their hip-hop and their
Dan Fogelberg. Like
their damn YouTubes.
Like the first time somebody did an alley-oop or, like anything that changed anything, they're just like...
the first curveball,
like,
and
was like a SNL sketch that was really funny with Phil Hartman, and it was Michael Jordan was hosting, and it was the first black Harlem Globetrotter, and it was really funny about it. They show like footage of like the Harlem Globetrotters when they're all white and they're like just like passing, just like regular passing, and then like Michael Jordan like is doing all this crazy shit, and they're just like, no, that's not basketball at all. It's not fundamental passing.
This is the Globetrotters.
Yeah, this is the Globetrotters. We're not here to do this flashy stuff.
Oh god, that's brilliant. Now let's take a time out to watch that real quick.
Yeah.
So also in this Skip, the reason this was brought up, he used Mahomes in an argument about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is the current quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I am a Cowboys fan like Skip Bayless, but he makes me look bad. I think Dak is very mediocre. He just happens to have a very good team, so his job is to just not fuck up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mahomes has less of a team, but is setting the fucking world on fire.
Yeah.
And also, like, Mahomes is like Dak 2.0. Also, I feel like he has a very similar play style.
Yeah.
And like he can get out of the pocket easily, and like he has a great arm, but he just like has all of the things that Prescott doesn't have.
Right. Yeah, he can just do it so much better. But Dak has a better team, but has half the stats, not even. And yeah, Mahomes does much more with much less. He has Tyreek Hill, who's like a great receiver, but still. Then in a Brady versus Mahomes arc, Tom Brady, I'm sure know Tom Brady.
He's married to
the
Giselle.
guy, yeah. He was.
He's married to Troy Aikman,
right? Tom Brady. Didn't he leave a pregnant wife for Giselle? I think. Isn't
I
that a
get
real
him
thing?
and Leonardo DiCaprio confused, to be honest.
Because he played a Boston guy and
was Leo
departed.
married to Giselle too, or did he date Giselle?
I think he was
I don't
the
know.
Israeli girl. What's her name? Raffaele.
Yeah. Was Tom Brady in the Pussy Posse at all in the 90s?
He's in his own pussy posse.
The only thing I know is I've never heard anything about Troy Aikman's romantic involvement. So.
I think he dated a model or
Shania
something.
Twain.
Shania Twain.
Really?
Or they're married, I think.
Really?
He's married to some famous
look
country
it
star.
up.
Yeah,
Probably
Mike, get
Alanis
on that.
Morissette.
I'll look it
But
up. You guys be
Yeah,
smart.
okay, I'm going to get back to in a
Sorry.
Brady versus Mahomes argument. Mahomes, Skip Bayless said, he's talking about, of course, how great Brady is. and he says Mahomes needs to do it again. And I don't understand what that means. Like what does he need to prove? Like he had this outstanding season. I don't know what else he can prove. Like I get that like you need more than one season to prove that you're legit. But when he's talking up Dak like that, if he had half the touchdowns next season that he had last season, he would still have more touchdowns than Dak has ever had.
Yeah.
In one season. So, like...
Also, this is coming from the guy who, Peyton Manning, 6 years into the Colts, said the Colts really need to reevaluate the decision they've made with Peyton Manning. You know?
Yeah.
It's like... Yeah. I feel like in his first season as a starter, Mahomes... I don't usually come around to people like this. Like I'm still not a Baker Mayfield believer.
Right.
You know, it's like I want to see Baker prove himself this season.
Sure.
I really hope he does.
Yeah.
But like I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon.
Yeah.
But like Mahomes went above and beyond with his ability and the things that he could do.
Right.
In his first season as a starter.
Yeah.
When they traded away Alex Smith, I was like, what are they doing?
You know? These guys saying that they're overrated. Like how do you see something that's definitively great and just be like overrated? Oh, the best quarterback last year is just overrated. What does that even fucking mean?
Yeah.
It's like Beyonce overrated.
Sex life,
not good.
You know?
Like, what does he need to do? Is it about like? I think he was kind of also hinting like he needs to win a Super Bowl. But it's like Dak has had more time and has not done that.
Yeah, I mean the guy's like 23 years old.
Yeah, Mahomes got farther than Dak did, than he's ever did.
He lost in the divisional championship,
right? In his first year as a full-time starter.
I always get him confused. To the Rams or to the Patriots? To the
Patriots.
Yeah, that's right. That Tom Brady had that insane drive.
Yeah, but they also came down to a coin toss in overtime, I think. So it's like that could have gone
either way,
a different way. So fuck you, Skip Bayless, on that once again. Moving on.
Yeah, back to the moral of the story. Fuck you, Skip Bayless.
You piece of garbage shit. Fuck.
Okay, he's married to a woman. He's been divorced once and married to a woman. I'm just like, I was going down a little wormhole of is Troy Aikman gay? Which, cool if he is. But it would really hurt my dad. But I'm very happy with it. He says when he talks about the story, I'm upset about it because it was made up and there was nothing accurate about anything that was insinuated. And he did it, as he does everything, just for attention. He's talking about Skip Bayless.
Wow.
I am probably more upset because I probably should have responded to it at the time that was going on. The advice to me was, hey, just don't address it. It's not worth it. It doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. All it's going to do is have people to continue to talk about the book. So I didn't. But I probably could have responded differently, and maybe that would have changed things. Maybe it wouldn't have. But it is ridiculous. And yeah, it bothers me. If that is a lifestyle people choose, so be it. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. But it's not my lifestyle. So that was Troy Aikman on
That was
Skip
a good
Bayless.
response. I
think that's a good response. Although
it wouldn't have changed anything. It probably would have gotten more attention.
The people in this article are mad because Troy said it's a lifestyle that people choose. And no, people don't choose. But I mean, I don't think Troy Aikman's that woke or smart.
Yeah, I
think he was trying to be I feel like he was genuinely trying to say the right thing.
Moving on to more. This is more Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott shit. Zeke is the running back. He's been holding out for a new contract. He's a running back.
Is that his real name, Zeke?
Ezekiel. Which is a biblical name, but he is far from an angel. He has gotten into trouble with quite a few occasions.
Ezekiel 5:17, the path of the righteous. Sorry,
I'm back. We on Zeke now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But kind of bleeding in from Dak.
We're talking about how spiritual of a man he is, right?
Yeah.
What has he done?
He lives his life.
God, what are all the things? I think. Did he? What was it? He hit a woman. There was an allegation in college.
I think he hit a child.
I don't know if there was a child.
I think it was maybe like a hit and run as well. It's like pretty much any hit-related offense that you can think of. I think he was involved in. Except he's a great football player.
He is very good. The most recent thing, he pushed a security guard at he was at like a EDM festival in Vegas, and he pushed a
now
guy.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
goes to
think
that
he was
kind of
he was actually trying to say that like he doesn't know his own strength though.
Oh
I think
my
that was his
God.
defense.
But dude, like, okay, he has been.
I just made that up. Sorry, I don't
No,
want that to go out there. You know.
No, let it. Like, he's such a fucking idiot. He's a great running back, and he carries the fucking team. But he went to this festival. The big problem, I mean, he shouldn't be pushing this security guard, and he was in the wrong. He was wasted in the video, probably on all sorts of drugs. But
Video.
but like the crazy thing is, he has already been suspended. He's already been, before he came in the league, he was in trouble. Like, he's just been like mired in controversy forever. And so to then think, hey, it'll be a good idea for me to go to a fucking EDM festival and
That's
get
a bad
fucking
idea
hammered.
to think to go to at any time. That
I mean,
music is
Johnny
fucking
Manziel
awful.
pulled it off. You know.
Yeah.
Johnny, I mean, he had that fake mustache, and everyone still respects him.
Oh my god.
You know?
Do they?
I mean, I know Skip probably does, but
Yeah, he still loves him. But
What's his name? Ezekiel what?
Elliot. But
if you type in Ezekiel, I'm sure he's top 2
yeah,
on Google.
yeah. The whole argument was who carries the team more, like who is responsible for the Cowboys like wins.
Jerry
And
Jones.
Skip Bayless said it's 60% Zeke versus 40%, or no, 60% Dak versus 40% Zeke. And I just found it weird that like in this argument, he's constantly he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, as he always does, and hedges bets. He will constantly say that Ezekiel Elliott is the best back in football. If there's an argument about who's the best running back in football, he's like, Ezekiel Elliott, he'll talk him up. But then when it comes to Dak Prescott, he just shits all over him. And like in this argument, Dak versus Zeke, he was just like, well, what about when Zeke played the Rams last year in the playoffs and he had his one bad game of his career or whatever? It's like, I just don't understand. Like, yeah, that person's the best fucking person. But in this argument,
However,
he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's no logic to any of this shit, you know? Like, I need to also have start doing a segment, hedge bet of the week or whatever.
Well, that Ezekiel guy looks scary. I'll give him that.
That beard, right?
Yeah, when he pushed that guy over, I don't know. Like it's kind of shitty. I don't know if it's as a former bouncer to the Rock and Roll Club Emos in Austin, Texas. I would have taken that dude down.
I mean, what you're what 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, like
You're a pretty hulking, bulky dude.
Yeah, I know that's true. No, I mean, I guess.
coming
But
from me,
I
just
thought it was
this-
gonna be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
That-
it's kind of a drunken...
It's like a drunken,
not-
just like he doesn't shove. He just he like walks into him. And
It's
that
like
dude,
I don't know my own strength kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
He doesn't know his own strength.
He's
You really wanna
barreling
push
over
that.
Terrell
I
Suggs.
would
You know?
let Ezekiel watch my infants. I got 4 infants at home.
Watch them do what? No, just watch them. Just watch
watch
over
them,
them.
take care of them.
yeah.
Moving on, there's another show, Speak for Yourself. I'm saying this because Mike doesn't know any of these shows. There's this guy, Jason Whitlock, who you should punch him in.
Okay.
Tell me what you think of his look. He is a large, weird-looking guy. I think Andrew Polk described him as a giant peanut or something. He is maybe the worst at just shock takes, which is saying a lot because Skip Bayless is pretty fucking terrible. But he's on all these shows. What's really crazy is like they're debating opposite a pro athlete. So every time you're going to take the pro athlete side because they know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's kind of the formula with these shows.
Yeah.
You know?
And Jason Whitlock, you know,
he does look like a peanut. The first thing that came up was Jason Whitlock calls Colin Cowherd an attention whore.
yeah, he's always going
Glad
to.
somebody did. Am I right?
Yeah.
But
Not on
I
this
mean, right
podcast.
away from that headline, you can put together why I'm bringing this up. So, on that show, they said Carly Lloyd is a female soccer player, very good female soccer player. I think she's won like 2 World Cups. She's outstanding.
All the best have in the States, you know?
Yeah.
We have the best female World Cup team there is.
Carly Lloyd was at an Eagles practice, and they asked her, why don't you take some field goal kicks? And it says a female soccer player at a professional football practice. and she takes a few kicks, and they keep moving it back 10 yards, and she ends up nailing like a 55-yard field goal on a small field goal post. It's a pretty tough thing to do. And she doesn't.
I can do it, but
yeah, well, yeah, we've seen that. But she didn't. She says she didn't know she was being taped, and it went viral. She says that like teams have reached out to her about trying out.
Yeah.
And these guys, everyone on the show, has just since that happened like a week and a half ago, they've brought it up every show. About how there's no way there can ever be a female kicker, which
I want to see it.
I mean, she did it.
I want to see her take a hit. Bring up Terrell Suggs.
That's
again.
the thing. It's like I'm not even saying I necessarily disagree. I think she could be a kick. There could be a female
how many
kicker.
Field goal kickers actually take a real hit?
Yeah. There's that like. She didn't do proper form. She had like many more steps than usual. So, but I mean,
neither did Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, true.
He was probably the best golfer of all time.
It's all in the hips.
But I mean, like she also was just fucking off at a practice. So it's like, given time to do it right, she could probably. I'm sure she could nail some field goals. No problem.
Boy, that would bum some people out, huh?
Yeah. But
that's kind of why I want to
get
see
into
it.
football just to watch the angry dudes.
Just watch the politics.
Yeah. But it has been brought up.
But also, let's not forget, that's the fucking plot of a movie shot in my hometown of Denton, Texas, called Necessary Roughness, where Kathy Ireland, Sports Illustrated cover model Kathy Ireland, becomes the kicker for a team in which Scott Bakula, Sinbad, and a bunch of other people that are probably not as famous as Scott Bakula and Sinbad.
Yeah, Scott Bakula's the only name you got.
But I was in high school when they shot that movie, and one time Sinbad rolled up to me. He was in a Mustang 5.0 convertible, and we were like, Sinbad! And he was like, ha ha, yo. And he just drove off.
Is this in the reality that he did Shazam, or is this in the other one?
It was in the Earth 518B where Shazam happened.
Well, this is going to take a quick aside again because I've got a story about Kathy Ireland.
Does it involve coming and this page is getting stuck together? Because I've got one of those too.
As people,
sorry guys, I'm a little younger than you are.
Mikey's
I'm only
younger.
29.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. We're both in our. Well, you're 40 now.
40, yeah. But as men around the same age,
we lost.
Kathy Ireland was someone that you spanked it to quite a bit. I'm just
She's
like my generation's Phoebe Cates, right?
There you go.
I'm kidding.
She was. This is before you could readily get pornography.
Yeah.
There was definitely no internet pornography.
Back when
Elle McPherson.
Yep.
Carol Alt, maybe.
I've always been curious,
Paulina
how did it go back
Porskova.
then? Did y'all have to go buy magazines?
You had to find a magazine in the forest.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was like in
I'm
sixth
ready to
grade,
start
say, I had to go bribe homeless people to buy us porn magazines.
And to make love to us.
And to show me how to masturbate. But yeah, they did that for free most of the time.
I had a friend whose dad had a cachet, and we would
me too
gingerly take out magazines, go out to the woods.
He was that guy that's like, I've been collecting Playboy since '67.
Well, So Kathy Ireland though was maybe my number one, right?
Yeah, Elle was my number one. But
I still remember
Kathy was up there.
I had an Elle calendar. I had a Kathy Ireland poster though.
Yeah.
And I did some things.
The poster didn't last very long.
My mom had to clean up some sheets quite often.
I feel so bad for my mom. Jesus Christ.
Everything's stuck together.
Thank God my mom never washed our sheets. We had to learn how to do that early. It would have been shame I couldn't handle at this age.
But so cut to, I don't know, 20-some years later. Our pal David Huntsberger had a TV show for a short-lived time, 6 weeks, and I would do
Audience warm-up.
Yeah, audience warm-up for the show.
That's where a comedian goes out before the show gets taped and just kind of gets the crowd loose and excited and make them laugh and all that stuff because there's a lot of downtime when you're shooting TV show.
And by the way, I would go on
InforWars. By the way,
can you imagine the InfoWars warm-up guy? I can, and his name's Owen Benjamin.
but I would go on at like 6 a.m. And do warm. It was the weirdest gig ever, and no one. It would be a handful of friends that we knew that he would invite out to the show that I knew that have heard my bits a million times, and they don't really know how to react in that environment. And then a bunch of people that are like paid to be there. People.
Yeah,
bunch of Catholic.
You got Catholic Regency.
They're like around LA. A lot of times you can just get paid, a little bit of cash to like go sit in an audience. So those people just pull out books, so they're not even looking at you. It was so weird. Anyway. So Huntsberger, who was like the first guest on the show, by the way, I go the second week I'm doing it. I go back to his green room to congratulate him, and the thing is, it's where like E Entertainment and all these other he was on Sci-Fi, but E was there. I guess they're all part of the same company, maybe. And I go back to say hi, and David is not in the green room. They have changed the green room for that week. And it is Kathy Ireland. I walk into Kathy Ireland in her green room.
I don't know that you told me that. Okay,
continue.
Oh,
man. Yeah, so I walk in, and Kathy Ireland is changing. I didn't see anything
boob?
Crazy. Yeah, nothing. It was like she I
boob?
think she was basically just finished. She's got some like friends or whoever around her. And I walk in, and I'm just... It didn't matter that any time has passed. I went right back to 13-year-old me.
You just came in your pants.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, but in my head I just wanted to yell like, I used to jerk off all the time to you.
Yeah.
I'm coming right now. Like I didn't know.
That's why you were apologizing, because it's just like a wet stain was forming on your pants at that moment.
I exploded just everywhere. But that's kind of a weird highlight in my life. But also,
did you
like,
actually speak to her though?
I couldn't get it out. Like there's still that weird, I think, attraction because of that age or whatever. There's some weird, like, she'll always be that weird, primal, dumb thing.
It's like when I met Mila Jovovich, it was like the same thing.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was like, when I first got to LA, it's like my friend was like, my roommate's this Turkish guy, and he was like, we're going to go to my buddy Ali's house. He's friends with a lot of celebrities, so we're going to go over there and smoke some weed. So I went over there, and I walked in, and Mila Jovovich is smoking a joint in front of me. Yeah. And I like froze up to the point, like, I've never done this before. I never thought I would be the type to do this, but like I absolutely panicked, and like I couldn't even introduce myself, and it got much weirder than that. Moving on to sports.
To call, my band, the Riverboat Gamblers, we recorded with a guy. He produced 2 records. This guy Mudrock, and but before he was a producer, he was Mila Jovovich's tour manager because she put out a record. Yeah. And that was the one thing I was like, what was she like? And he just goes, man, she smoked a lot of weed. She smoked a lot of weed.
Well, she was so cool. Like, she was like Gary Oldman in fucking True Romance. Like, I walked in, she's just like, what's up? Man, I was like, oh, God, no. Like,
maybe you don't.
Yeah.
I wonder if I apologized to her. Not so much that I walked into the wrong place, but that, like, it was almost like a, sorry, I jerked off so much to you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Why did I die?
It's like not many 12-year-olds were jerking off to Resident Evil, but I was.
But she probably gets that exact same reaction from so many guys.
Yeah. So many 40-year-old dudes.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, I'm sure she knew that face. It was like, it would have been really funny if she's like, yeah, you jerked off to me. Yeah, you can, like. Yeah. And also, is that a compliment? I don't know. Is that weird? Is that not a
I would take it as a compliment.
That's usually how I open up at bars with girls. I'm like, I saw you on Instagram.
Jerk off to my comedy all the time. Going way back to where this all started, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm a
bad derailer.
No, that was a great derail. I haven't ever told that story anywhere. But this Carly Lloyd kicking, it was brought up. I'm not necessarily like agreeing or disagreeing. Like, it was brought up if she were ever playing in a game and it was blocked, she would get there would probably be some dickhead players that would make it a point to fucking try to murder her. Yeah. So, like, I don't think...
And definitely the dude on InforWars
Ndamukong
would be rooting him on.
Ndamukong Suh would be like, I'm going to step on her face.
Yeah, he did that to a player.
That was male, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And so I think that there could be some, like, danger involved. But there was a coach on record that said he wouldn't mind if just taking, like, get off the field as soon as you kick so that doesn't happen. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, if you did that, maybe it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I don't think it would be a good idea. I don't think she'd be able to make the tackles, you know,
I
like
don't
on a
think she
300
needs to
pound.
be on the kickoff squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wait, does the kicker this is some
they
dumb
can.
guy.
They usually they usually.
Pat McAfee can.
That's usually it usually comes down. They're the last line of defense, and a
Yeah.
lot of times there's a lot of kickers that are like they pretend to try to tackle, but they really don't. But
I
but
can't
my-
remember what Kathy did in Necessary Roughness, but I do remember that
We're watching that later,
I do
by the
remember
way.
that the Armadillos, which was the name of the team,
Yeah.
won the game at the end.
I knew
But
that.
Scott Bakula had a big thing to do with that too.
God, I love Scott Becker. But my main point is, say what you want, whatever. But to keep this going for so long, it's just not a good look at 2019 to just. Like, a woman can't do this
it's
for
very-
like a week. Just let it fucking.
Yeah.
And like one of Whitlock, the peanut guy, his whole thing was like, it's a publicity stunt. Well, if it's fucking bothering you, then don't fucking talk about it. Like,
there's a publicity stuff that I'm continuing to publicize.
yes. And then, like, you read that Troy Aikman quote, like,
Yeah.
the best thing for me to do at the time was to let it go. Then fucking,
I feel like that's kind of the paradox with any like sports commentator,
Yep.
though. You know.
Yep. All right, a few quick takes before we get to the really, really fun stuff that I love so much. So on First Take this past week, Jimmy G was being talked about, and Stephen A. Smith corrected Keyshawn Johnson, another pro player, Mike. Stephen A. Smith is, you saw him in some of the Skip Bayless videos. He's very loud. He doesn't bother me as much.
He looks like a human cartoon.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. He's just very over the top. He started talking shit on Jimmy G, telling Keyshawn, cutting him off on his story, saying you can't call this guy Jimmy Garoppolo Jimmy G. You have to call him on this show Jimmy Pornstar. Because Jimmy Garoppolo at one point in public was seen on a date with a porn star. And so now this guy...
Just like our president of the United States of America.
And Stephen A. Smith, I just find it funny that, like, every chance he gets to make fun of this, he's just like, no, take him down a notch. And it's just like, and Keyshawn, by the way, put his hands up and was like, man, I am not touching another pro athlete's love life. That's his
He
fucking
knows.
business.
Yeah.
And I'm
He's
sure
like, this
these
is
guys
taboo subject.
do. But I guess just like for this guy that tries to be so hip, it's like a weird stance to take that, like, man, this guy dating this fucking porn star, fucking loser, horrible, shitty, like.
I kind of have
that's
some.
literally what you're supposed to do.
I kind of have some skin in the game, though. Like, I've never actually talked about this, but Keyshawn Johnson actually banged my college girlfriend.
What?
Yeah, no joke. She went to TCU and
What?
Literal skin in the game.
Yeah. Like, every time I hear Keyshawn Johnson's name, like, I feel this fire in my chest.
Was it before
Oh,
or after
man.
or during?
It was during our relationship.
Oh, no.
She was my girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh my
no.
And
god.
Keyshawn Johnson slid in. That was pre-DMs.
Yeah.
He just slid in the D at that point.
Yeah.
But like,
Sorry,
sorry to derail
why
this.
didn't we
No.
start the
Yeah,
podcast
exactly.
off with this
Why
story?
don't we change
Yeah.
the entire focal point of this podcast?
I'd say
All right,
her
we're
name
gonna
right
start
now,
it.
but I don't want you to have to edit it out. So
That is, man, that's gnarly.
yeah, sorry, I'm just this 5'9" plump white boy.
We're
I don't
gonna-
have hands like Keyshawn. You know.
We're gonna have to start the podcast over. And start
wow.
there.
It scarred me for life.
No, well, I mean, I've been, I had a similar thing happen, not with the pro athlete, but with some fucking.
Have you seen Keyshawn Johnson?
No,
He's more than
I'll
that.
look him up.
You know?
I'll look him up. Did you break up because of that, or did you find out after you broke up?
No. She didn't even know who he was.
Whoa.
She was like, "Sorry,
that
but
wasn't
I
the
cheated
angle.
on you last night," and I was like, "With who?" And she's like, "Some athlete." And I was like, "Okay, an athlete." tell me more. I know sports.
Yeah.
Talk slow.
She's like, she's like, he was a football player, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, no. I was like, what position did he play? I was like, he's a fucking linebacker, And she's like, he's a wide receiver, and I was like, okay, he's probably a slot receiver, but no, it ended up being Keyshawn Johnson.
He was a slot receiver in this instance.
She was a slot.
Yeah.
She was a slot receiver.
Unfortunately so. Yeah.
Sorry, Mike's.
Meanwhile,
Mikey's
I thought the whole
crying.
time she was a tight end, but she wasn't.
Oh man. Well, how did she meet him? Was there
At a club actually in Dallas.
Dallas?
I
Weird.
don't know. She went to TCU. It was either in Dallas or Fort Worth. I think
Yeah.
Fort Worth's much better than Dallas is, personally. Sorry.
Wow.
No, I agree.
Oh, no,
I'm
no.
from Denton. Denton
Okay,
is
yeah.
so
I
Denton.
hate the whole-
I spent a lot of
is-
time in Manchester. Mansfield. Sorry,
Mansfield,
Mansfield,
yeah.
Manchester.
I grew up in Dallas and I hate the whole Metroplex, so
Yeah.
no hard feelings.
But
I contend that Denton is
Keyshawn
cool.
Johnson broke my heart. Moral of the story. Sorry, let's talk
Yeah.
football. This
No.
podcast isn't about
That-
Mikey's love life.
No, that
as
is-
much as I'd like it to be about Mikey's love life, it's not about that.
that's as good as having a pro athlete on here.
That's as good as
Yeah.
having getting fucked by a pro athlete.
Did you break up with her immediately after that?
She actually broke up with me. She's like, your dick's too small.
She did not say that.
No, I'm kidding. No. She's like, he was too good at loving. Oh,
All right. Jesus Christ.
okay. Doug's
Well,
input.
what? How can we fucking devolve this podcast any further?
Okay, I'm gonna put that out there.
Jesus.
I'm gonna put that out there. Mikey's ex-girlfriend who fucked Keyshawn Johnson just showed up out of nowhere and farted in the microphone.
No, that was Keyshawn Johnson.
I'm reading here that according to a TMZ report, former NFL player Keyshawn Johnson was among those irked by Justin Bieber's driving, as Johnson, with his child in the car, reportedly left a party inside a gated community where Bieber resides. He became alarmed as Bieber raced by in his Ferrari at unsafe speeds. So on top of fucking her girlfriend, he's also a snitch.
Whoa.
He's also a fucking snitch. He's also not a believer.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just, I'm gonna wrap this whole story up just for the audience out there.
Did he wrap it up?
All 12. I don't think so. I ended up winning in the end because she's now stuck in South Texas, married to some dead-end, white guy with some dead-end job. He's not even a professional wide receiver. And I'm here in Los Angeles living the dream, sleeping on a couch, and,
There you go.
pursuing my career as a videographer, which is really unique for Los Angeles. There's not many people out here doing that.
And now you film porn starring Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah. Well,
Full circle.
actually, Keyshawn Johnson lookalikes is more accurate. But yeah.
Bringing it back to where this all started. Not that I was not fascinated by every second of that, but on top of like him making fun of this guy about a porn star, relationship, he also, one of his main stances is if somebody gets busted for smoking weed, he has this slogan that's like become part of his brand where he's just like, "Stay off the weed," and it's
Stephen
like
A. Smith,
become
right?
it's
Okay.
become this thing that he does, and the crowds love it, and it's like. Again, like
What kind of crowd loves that?
I don't know. It's like, to me, it's just like it just builds him up as this like he tries to be this real hip guy, and he talks about he went to the club last night and stuff. But it's like,
Which
but you
guy
don't.
is this?
Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
For me, y'all don't look like you smoke a lot of weed. I just smoke a lot of weed, and when I see Stephen A. Smith do that, I'm like, what a fucking clown.
I know, and
You know?
it's so fucking nerdy. It's just like you're fucking square, man.
Yeah.
And I have eaten weed at your house and did not go well. I almost called 911 on myself.
Yeah,
But
that was,
I do enjoy the
I
weed.
told you there was weed in those cookies, but we need to bring this story up
I
again.
ate half of one of those cookies.
Look, I smoke
that
a lot
was
of
the
weed. I
size of a
need,
quarter.
I need them to be strong. All
I
right.
was on another planet.
This is Ayers World. Hashtag Ayers World is my Instagram name.
Oh,
So,
there you
yeah.
go. Oh, we'll get to we'll plug.
Okay.
And now, we're gonna get to and you had some embarrassing. I want you to read that.
Have I not embarrassed myself
No,
enough tonight?
no, not you, Skip.
Okay.
You had some embarrassing
Doug made
Skip
eye
Bayless
contact with me. So
tweets.
the very first one I click on. Here we go. Skip Bayless says, "You bet I'd take Tebow late in games over Aaron Rodgers. Tebow, 4-game winning drives and 9 starts. Aaron Rodgers, unproven. late. Not enough opportunities yet. This is in 2012. This is a year
Oh my
2
God.
years after he won the Super Bowl.
Jesus Christ. But what's funny is I thought when you showed that to me earlier that was like from like this past week, because it could
exactly,
be.
Yeah,
Because he
That's
still
what
brings up fucking Tebow. Yeah.
It's like all of his tweets resonate to this day. Browns just stole a starting quarterback, Brandon Whedon. Much better than Tannehill. Will soon be out cold. Have 6 to 9 good years. T-Rich and Whedon all the way.
Oh my God, boy, did he fucking get that wrong. As always, the big embarrassment I wanted to bring up this week, and this is more just a shout out to a great listener, my man Rob. So he DM'd me this week and was like, "Hey man, I know this is not how you wanted this to go, but I now follow Skip Bayless on Instagram, so I'm actually giving Skip Bayless business." But Skip Bayless posted a picture of his fucking dog. The dog's name is Hazel. This is the dog, Mike and Mikey.
Okay. It's pretty cute.
And,
It's a cute
dog,
little fluffer.
but it's not the dog you would picture. Which my whole theory is he got this dog as a.
Wait, that's Skip's dog.
That's Skip's dog. I think it's like a promotional or like a. Look, I'm a nice guy. I have this cute little dog. It's not like you'd think if he had a dog, you'd think he doesn't have a dog. If he did have a dog, like a giant like pit or a Rottweiler or something weird and ferocious.
I feel like he would have that just to like feed his own ego, though.
Yeah, maybe just something to dominate all the time.
Maybe this is a true reflection of his internal self.
He's married to a woman named Ernestine.
Does she exist, though?
Who sounds like a
P. Worrell.
That was actually my grandmother's name.
Ernestine?
Yeah, it's probably her dog.
She was born around
Yeah.
the Great War,
That
the
is
First
a-
World
that is
War.
a very
I didn't know there were any people named Ernestine after 1922.
it's a pre-greatest generation name.
Yeah, I mean she died long before I was born. So
She's from the Civil War. But he
Mustard
posted
gas.
he posted this thing. My girl Hazel watching Serena with me. Hazel was the sweetest, toughest, fastest, funniest, smartest Maltese ever there was. Only debates I ever lose are to her. And then my buddy Rob, who's a listener to the show, he messaged, and I just popped up when I looked up the latest Skip Bayless post. I saw his on there, this comment. I don't know, dude. My neighbor has a Maltese, and it's super fast, funny, and smart. I'm sure you would lose a debate to that dog as well. So big shout out to Rob for taking him down a notch. You guys should all do the same. I want to see more of this. I want you guys to go at him. It's so entertaining. It's my favorite thing to do is like read his like ats because it's just no one likes him. That's the thing. Like everyone. I mean, his job is to be hated, I guess, but. Meanwhile, his ego needs to be inflated at all points.
You'd think
so it's
that
just
like
so
he
funny.
would kind of have like a self-deprecating kind of vibe,
Right.
but he's like Skip all the way. When he like says something, it's like Skip's laying down the law.
Yeah.
It's like, no, listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. I have the fans to show for it, but nobody likes him.
Yeah.
You know.
And like Rob messaged me. He was like, yeah, he kind of set himself up with saying that he lost a debate to his dog. You know.
Yeah.
Mikey just showed me another tweet. Russell Wilson is the best thing that could have happened to Johnny Football's NFL future. One day, Manziel will be better than Wilson. Holy shit. Gold. Good God.
It's endless. Sorry,
This is why I'm so excited for the football season to start because Skip will give predictions and then they'll be right or wrong. They'll always be wrong. And I can immediately the next week be like, boom, he was wrong here. Because they never like follow back too much on that.
We're recording this on a Monday night. You can start recording after Monday Night Football.
Yep.
You can get his take after Sunday Football. It's the perfect time.
Yeah.
You know. Viewers, you better zone in this football season because Doug Mellard has some things to say.
Got some shit to say. Prick picks this week. Skip says Zeke will be signed by week 1, and Shannon says it'll be multiple games he sits out. It's looking like the negotiations are heating up. I say he sits out 2 games. I love, Mike, that you don't know anything about any of this. So do you think he sits out any games, no games, or the whole season? Because it'll be even better if it's just like you get it right. And
I think he sits out The whole season.
All right, there we go. What about you, Mikey?
Well, I'm gonna say he sits out 4 games this year because he doesn't want to go back-to-back years sitting out at least 6 games.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't want to lose those stats.
Well, it's like I feel like anyone chasing these kind of stats, like Le'Veon Bell started a really bad trend.
Yes.
And like I feel like Zeke doesn't want to fully commit to the Le'Veon Bell lifestyle, but like he still wants his money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that take is
It's
meaningless.
looking
Move on. Yeah.
closer that I don't know. They say it's heating up, but we'll see. And now because Mike's on here and he's not a big sports guy, I thought it'd be really funny. David Huntsberger and I on the first podcast picked like division winners, but I don't think we picked Super Bowl winners. Oh, by the way, I need to get Huntsberger's re-pick now that Andrew Luck has retired all of a sudden. I'm going to say the Texans win the division, not the Colts, so I'm going to revise that.
That's bold.
I think that's...
The Texans are very sloppy in the offseason.
I don't know, man. They picked up one of the best left tackles, and that's their big weakness.
Well, I feel like the whole Andrew Luck situation made them panic, and they're like, we need to protect our quarterback. This could happen to us.
No, because their whole problem has been their offensive line, and they got one of the best guys. They gave Clowney away, which was fucking dumb.
They fucking gave Clowney away for free. You know, it's like
Ryan
they could.
Clowney?
Yeah, Ryan Clowney.
Jadavion, actually. Guess again. No.
But let's do a quick.
Anyone could have guessed that name, Jadavion. You know.
I'm gonna let Mike look over the NFL teams, so you know all the teams there.
Look,
and you pick who's gonna be the winner of the Super Bowl this
I'm going to
year.
say, and this is easy for me, and it's the Chicago Bears, and the reason why is because they got the fridge. Which is one of the only football things I know. Fridge, because he was a G.I. Joe, member of G.I. Joe.
Yes, he was. I have that. It's actually in the
he had a
cabinet
stick
over
with
there.
a metal football on the end that he would use to bash the heads in of Cobra soldiers.
Mikey, you got a prediction for who's going to win this year?
I'm actually going to quote Skip Bayless on this one. So I have a tweet pulled up from Skip Bayless. Throw up the X, Cowboys fans. This is the year. Okay, I fucking hate the Cowboys. I don't believe that.
He wants the
This
Cowboys to go fans to go straight edge.
I feel like
Don't drink, and maybe they'll have a chance.
If we're putting money on this prediction, I'm gonna go safe and say that Tom Brady is gonna go on a run after Week 7 and close out the season without a loss.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty bold.
Yeah.
No, but
If
that's
I
a
was
safe
a betting
pick.
man, that's.
I am gonna go. I would, as much as I would love to pick my Cowboys, I'm not gonna be Will Kane or Skip Bayless and be a homer. I'm going to go, I think the Rams aren't going to have the Super Bowl hangover, and it's going to be Rams versus Chiefs. And then the other team, I think, could maybe do it as the Chargers, but I'm going to say Rams versus Chiefs. I'm going to say Rams win.
I would like to see the Chargers have a season.
I would too, man. It's
Phillip
always
Rivers,
a fucking thing.
He gets a lot of hate, but I like Phillip Rivers. He's a down-to-earth dude. He's got 15 children.
And he does. He has 9, I think.
Okay, yeah. He has a
and
lot
he
of
always
kids.
wears a bolo tie.
Is he Mormon?
Which makes me love him. I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, Old Dirty Bastard also had that many kids, and he was a really good member of a team.
we gotta get to the end here because we got a bar to go to. Mike's in town. We're gonna meet up with a bunch of comic friends. Mikey, you're welcome to join us.
I got shorts on. I wish you would have let me know. But yeah, sorry. Continue.
All right. So those were our predictions. I kind of hope the Bears win, just so Mike is the one that's right. Fridge is MVP.
My next door neighbor wrote a rap song, and it went, William Perry Refrigerator, football's only Terminator. And I don't remember the rest of it, but he wrote that. He was in the 6th grade, I was in the 5th grade. I looked up to him as a rapper.
I mean, I'd be proud of that to this day.
Especially that age, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ryan Honig.
The new segment that I started last week, the rumor of the week. So what is the rumor we want to start about Skip Bayless this week, gentlemen?
I heard Skip Bayless is a huge cock.
He has a huge cock?
Yeah.
That's a horrible... That's not what we want. That's the wrong way.
I know. I thought
Micro penis. There it is.
I thought I'd flip the script.
I was going to say, let's start a rumor that Skip. This is the most coming out of me rumor, but the Skip Bayless is the one that's responsible for Spider-Man leaving the MCU. It was all due to Skip Bayless that Spider-Man is going back to Sony.
You heard it here first,
What a
folks.
fucking dick! Am I right, sports fans?
Skip Bayless has a micro penis.
No, he has a huge cock. Except the only thing is, like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know,
It's always
no matter how many
flaccid.
Viagra he takes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge limp old penis that he
Yeah.
just can't do anything with.
Water,
Is this
water
usable?
everywhere, not a drop to drink.
There it is, guys. And Mike's
Penis is also huge.
Yeah.
Mike's
And
Mike's
it
huge
works
cock.
sometimes.
Mike's rumor bleeds us into the fan fiction we always have at the end, where we talk about, what's Skip like as a lover, what's Skip like as a dog owner. This week, what would Skip Bayless's superpowers be?
I imagine him being like extremely like he has the power to manipulate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like that's all he can do is make people think that he's the best superhero.
Yeah.
Even though he can't do anything. It's like what he does is take credit for other superheroes' powers.
Yeah. That's kind of like he's Mysterio. It's all illusions. It's all fake.
yeah.
It's all falsehoods.
Coming off of Spider-Man: Homecoming,
We
not Homecoming.
we just
what's it called?
got out of
We
Spider-Man
went and
3.
saw it this afternoon, Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home. Far From Home.
And
Sorry, I saw it 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna-
I didn't see the extended version.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm going to say that he vomits shit out of his mouth at a high velocity, and that keeps people.
He vomits
at
Jerry
guard.
Jones cum all over everyone.
There it is. That's beautiful. And real quick, I'm going to bring on Ryan County, who's been patient enough to just sit here and be quiet like a good boy the whole podcast. I want to bring on Ryan because Ryan was one half
Like,
of
are
the...
you sure? It's been like 3 hours, man.
Well, I wanted to give you a shout out because you did the music with Kevin Dean, the theme song, and I really appreciated that, and it's so good. Ryan's got a new album out, by the way. Let's plug you first, Ryan. What's your album? Where can people get it?
Oh, hey, I'm Ryan County, and Mike's mentioned me a couple. Real Mike, not Mikey or John Mike, or we ended up calling him.
Shitstain.
Hell yes. I do have an album, Doug. I Can't Die on iTunes, and we're on the same comedy album
Stand-up
record
records,
label, right?
yeah.
And to bring it 360, I wrote a song for Ryan's record called I Can't Die, and Stand Up Records is putting that out on a Flexi.
It literally is coming out as a,
Flexi disc.
Ryan, do you want to make a pick, Super Bowl pick? You want to pick a team?
I mean...
Because you're not a big sports guy as well.
Well, here's the thing: is is there any way the Nebraska Cornhuskers have a shot? I'm a Vikings. I grew up
Vikings?
in
That's not a
I grew up in
horrible
a
pick.
Culpepper, Randy Moss
All
era.
right.
So that was like when I watched sports, it was Dream Team. So I'm gonna say whatever team. I feel like Randy Culpepper's 90 and dead.
Randy Culpepper.
And then, damn it, I can't think of Culpepper's first name to do
Dante.
a cross. Dante Moss is.
Ezekiel.
Is Moss on teams anymore?
No, he's retired.
He's like completely.
He
was on Oakland last I knew.
Yeah, he went from
That was like
Oakland
4
to
years
New
ago.
England. That was a long time ago.
All right, so the Teletubbies are gonna win this season. Whatever team Randy Moss is on is gonna win. Is my thing. Or
Teletubbies.
in Dominic Sue. So what's he on? Is he still in Detroit?
He is on the Rams, right? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
then Rams. Okay,
Wait, no,
Rams
or
are
did
gonna
he?
win.
Did he leap? Fuck.
I think he's like on
He went to.
he's like on the Seahawks or something.
Yeah. He moved again. I'm
Wherever
getting
in
wrong.
Dominic Sue's at.
Ryan, you're
and I'm
making me
probably,
look real dumb.
Oh, I'm doing that.
No. I'm joking. But Ryan, I wanted to bring you on because you did the song. It was so funny, so good. I love it. You and Kevin Dean made a hell of a pair. And also on top of that, we're gonna have a new segment before too long that I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to give any spoilers. But Ryan's gonna be gonna have a funny part on this.
Oh, Doug's
podcast
making me
before
come
too
on
long.
to suck his ass live on.
Well, shit, Ryan. I don't want to give that part away, but
You're
now
gonna
they
want
know.
You're gonna want to hear the banter that happens during the ass suck because I'm a talkative butt sucker.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
This thing's about sports, right?
Yeah. Mikey, anything you want to plug? You just wanted to put your name out there?
I'm gonna plug something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug something. Let me think about it for a little bit. No, okay. I'm gonna plug something. Myself, I guess. My name is Michael Ayers. I don't know what to say. I've never plugged anything before.
Your Instagram
Hey guys, I'm not
or
usually
whatever.
on. Okay, hashtag. No wait, not even a hashtag. That's not what it's called. At Ayers World on Instagram.
There you go.
If y'all want to hear me and my brother do a great podcast where we interview the people you've never heard of before, go to Liz and Christian Present on anywhere you can find podcasts. I don't know. I play Doug on that. Inspired by.
It's a really wild podcast. It's a really crazy, cool concept.
Yeah, well, we interview the most interesting people you've never heard of. We actually have Elon Musk. He's the only one you've ever heard of on there.
Yeah.
The other ones are mostly improv comedians who make up everything that we feed them. So yeah, I do the music for that program.
Probably going to be on there before too long, and Ryan County be fucking great at that.
Yeah.
So
you got a card?
Now this just turns into me pimping out Ryan.
Thank you for having me, Doug.
No, thank you, man. And Mike, what?
I've got a podcast called Contrarian Court, where we take someone who has a hot take, a contrary opinion, something everybody likes that they hate, or something that they hate that everyone likes, and we take them to court. It's a mock court show, so you can find that anywhere. The Draculas, my band, Draculas with a K, they got a new record coming out very soon. First single will drop September 13th. And
yes. Oh, fuck yeah, that's so
Instagram,
cool.
Ryan County happens to be in the video for Forward Fashion, the opening single. So that's going to get a lot of press.
I got a sneak peek of the record, like kind of early on. It's what I've heard is fucking great. And I heard a few new songs live. It's so fucking good, guys.
Well, thank you.
And
thank you.
Of course, your other band, Riverboat Gamblers.
Riverboat Gamblers, maybe we'll do stuff.
I really like that name. I haven't seen you all play. I saw Doug's Instagram posts last night. They looked great.
Oh, thank you.
They looked great.
And then that's mostly it. RS Mike Wiebe on Instagram and Mike Wiebe on Twitter. Follow me for fun, food, and friendship, but no food.
And I was a guest on Contrarian Court. Where
you were on Contrarian Court.
I did the movie Big as a horror movie and not actually a feel-good movie, because it's all about molestation and all sorts of crazy, weird shit. Anywho, check all that out, guys. And then I will be at Cloud Top Comedy Festival in Santa Fe, New Mexico next week, the 12th through the 15th. I got some Fart Safari shirts. I know I've said this before, but they're going to go up for sale with a new one soon. And again, I've got some other dates coming up, but Fart Safari 3 is being recorded November 17th and the 20th. As always, rate, review, subscribe, and like Rob, talking shit at Skip. Be sure to do plenty of that. And if you've got a topic you want me to hit on, be sure to message me, tweet at me, shout at me on Instagram, whatever.
Even if you want to go political.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Bring it. Thanks. Thanks again, Mikey and Mike.
Thank you.
You guys are the best. Appreciate it. Let's go have drinks.